delighted to be joined by Dave Allen again this evening. Dave, many thanks for your time. Really good to speak to you. First and foremost, how are you getting on after the fight, mate? Are you all good?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Yeah, you know, the fight's been and gone now, so I've got a new date now on September the 3rd. So I'm already preparing for that. I had one day off, I had the Sunday off, and been back in the gym twice a day ever since. So you know, there's no rest time. I want to get back to winning weight.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I've got a few questions about your next fight and your next moves, Dave. But before we get there, if I may, just to take you back to the Dillian Whyte fight, and specifically to the lead up to the fight. I was watching all the build up. I was watching the press conference, the weigh-in. Could you talk us through? Obviously, we spoke a few weeks before the fight, but could you talk us through how you were feeling the day leading up to the fight, after the weigh-in, what that experience was like?
Yeah, the press conference went well. You know, it was. I think everyone knew it was going to be fun. Press conference was good. You know, it was a bit of banter, whatever people want to call it. And then the weigh-in. Obviously, I think the weigh-in is more important than the press conference. The weigh-in, when he weighed in lighter than when he boxed Joshua, I knew I was in for a hard night at that point, because the game plan obviously was to take him late, to get him later in the fight. And when I knew that he'd weighed in light, I knew he was fit, I knew he prepared correctly. So at that point, you know, I know I had my work cut out, but you know, it is, like I say, it is what it is. It's been and gone, but you know, it was a lot fitter than I expected. And when he got on scales, I kind of knew that. So yeah, makes sense.
So going back to the first round of the fight, obviously Dillian Whyte comes out southpaw. Can we get your? I mean, what was going through your head when you saw him coming out southpaw?
To be honest, I didn't even realise until after the fight. Someone said I didn't even know. Whatever he was doing, you know, I wasn't interested in what he was doing. It was a case of, for 2 or 3 rounds, I didn't want to get hit. It was a case of not getting hit, and for 2 or 3 rounds I didn't get hit. But you know, later in the fight, he didn't tire purely because I didn't hit him enough to tire him down. I was kind of hoping he was going to tire out on just throwing loads of punches and missing a lot. So, you know, it was a little bit of an experience. You know, I tried to wear him down over 10 rounds, but I didn't wear him down fast enough. He was definitely tiring rounds 9 and 10. I think rounds 9 and 10 he was definitely tiring. I was definitely starting to catch up and take over then with some work. You know, it wasn't clean work. It wasn't necessarily good work. It wasn't necessarily quality punches. But rounds 9 and 10, I was starting to get into it. Like I said, I am very, you know, I wasn't 100% fit, but I'm a very fit man anyway. So I was starting 9 and 10. I was starting to come not on top, not massively on top, but I was starting to really get into the fight. But due to my inexperience, you know, it was just a little too late.
Totally, yeah. I mean, would you say, is it fair to say, Dave, that from your perspective, the game plan you wanted to implement, you know, you did what you always planned on doing in there? It's just that Dillian Whyte maybe did a better job than you were initially anticipating when you went into the fight?
Yeah, I think, you know, looking back on it now, there's obviously things I could have done better, but the first 2 or 3 rounds, I knew I was never going to win the fight on points. I just kind of knew that. I kind of went in with a mindset, I'm not going to win this fight on points. So for 2 or 3 rounds, I wanted to make him miss and make him work hard, but I didn't really. He threw a lot of punches, but I didn't make him work hard. I didn't hit him enough. I never hit him in the body for 3 rounds. He was throwing a lot of punches, he was moving a lot, but there wasn't a lot coming back his way really to make him think. So, you know, that part of the plan didn't go to plan. You know, 4, 5, and 6. You know, it was putting together a lot of good punches. There was a lot of variation. It was a lot better than it was better than I thought it was going to be. He moved better. It wasn't as physically strong as I expected him to be. He didn't punch as hard as I thought he would punch. He can punch and he's strong, but I can match him physical strength. You know, there's not many heavyweights in the world that I'm not going to stand up to. So, but he surprised me with his fitness. You know, he just kept throwing the punches out, and a lot of his punches, some of them were very quality. He picked some very nice punches, and like I say, there was some speed and some power. But you know, I feel like he kind of old man me out of the fight. You know, he was just like a little bit busier. He just took the rounds by throwing little punches, landing little soft punches, and And you know, I definitely learned a lot from the fight. You know, it's disappointing because when I was 9 and 10, I was feeling very fresh and coming on strong. You know, and it's disappointing because I didn't quite get to empty the tank, but that's just purely from, you know, basically Dillian old manning me out of it. You know, constantly keeping his arms going, keeping his hands in my face, and stopping me from working.
It was certainly a new Dillian Whyte. You know, I'm used to seeing him loading up on his punches and throwing single punches a bit more. He was certainly boxing a bit more. Having served the ring with him for 10 rounds, how does he compare to the guys you've sparred? How do you rate his power compared to some of the elite level guys you've been in with, Dave?
Yeah, he can definitely, he can box. You know, the man can box. I think everyone went down just a big punching, strong man, tough man, and you know, he can definitely box. You know, he's got a little bit of an engine on him. You know, for 8 rounds, he really did throw a lot of punches. You know, there wasn't all full power shots, but that was one thing I was hoping. I was hoping he was going to load up on shots because I wanted him to load up and swing and miss and get into a little bit of a fight. But, you know, they were very smart about it. They had a good game plan. They knew what I was bringing to the table. And, you know, I did put my cards on the table. And you know, he's good. He's a good fighter, you know. I think there's a lot more to come from him. And I think the fight with me has done the world a good. You know, he's got him a lot of rounds in the bank. And I don't think he's going to come up against many heavyweights as physically strong as me. And I don't think he's going to come up against a lot of heavyweights that are going to stand up to the kind of shots that I stood up to. So he'll come up against better fighters than me, no doubt. He'll come up against better boxers than me. But you know, I think it's something in good stead. You know, I think he's definitely above domestic level. You know, I think I don't know if he's world level quite yet, but he's definitely above domestic level. So, you know, and I feel like with another 2 or 3 fights, you know, me and Dillian Whyte would be a 50-50 fight, or me from Saturday night against him before the Joshua fight, that's another 50-50 fight. So, you know, I've come away with it. You know, not happy, but I come away with it. You know, I took a lot of good stuff away from me. You know, because he is a good fighter, and I wasn't out of my depth. You know, I just got outworked.
Certainly, no, I can totally see that, Dave. And as you already mentioned, you were back in the gym straight away. How quickly after the fight did you sort of get into your mind that you wanted to get straight back on the horse? You didn't want the break.
Straight away, you know, as soon as I got back in the changing room, my manager Steffi was there. I knew he had a show September 3rd, you know, because that's been arranged for some time. You know, he's already got all the fighters from his gym on the show, so I just said to him, I'd like to be out September 3rd. Everything that I need, you know, everything that I'm missing from my game is in every physical aspect. You know, I'm very strong. I can take a very good knock. A lot of heavyweights haven't got the fighting heart. You know, I can box. I can definitely box very defensively sound. You know, and that's maybe a little bit of the sparring partner mentality, but you know, it's made me very defensively sound. So, you know, it's just a case of getting back in the gym. You know, working on throwing more shots. Ingle gym, you know, you're throwing combinations, you're moving, and hopefully training like that, you know, eventually it's not going to come overnight, but over time, you know, my arms will become more accustomed and more conditioned to throwing more shots. It's about getting more experience. You know, the plan is to fight 3 more times this year. I've got 3 more dates this year. A definite opponent, Noureddin Madoun, confirmed for September the 3rd. And then hopefully 2 title fights towards the end of the year, you know, area and challenge belts by the looks of things. So it's just about picking up experience and keeping busy, you know. And I think with more experience and get myself in the right physical condition, you know, I could pick up a British title definitely within the next 12 months. It's
great to hear that you're gonna be active. So does Steffi have 3 separate bills for the rest of the year that you can get on, Dave?
Yeah, there's 2 at Doncaster Dome,
yeah.
And then there's 1 in my actual home village.
Really?
Well.
Okay, great, great.
For me and Josh Whale as well. For me and Josh Whale will be on that show in my home village, you know. So yeah, they're not world class opponents, but Noureddin Madoun won 4, lost 3. You know,
he was in Prize Fighter, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's not a bad fighter. Yeah. You know, I could have had an easier comeback fight, but you know, it's going to be a 6 or 8 rounder. And the 2 fights after that are all going to be 6 or 8 rounders. So, you know, maybe there's a possibility of 24 rounds before the end of the year is out. So, and the experience is what I'm lacking. So,
going back to the Ingle gym, I know you said you're going to be sticking with them, which is great news. Is Junior Witter training yourself, or was it just that because Ingle was away with Kell Brook, he took on the job for the last fight?
Basically, the situation was before I accepted the fight, I was at the Ingle gym for 2 weeks. I was doing weights in the morning 3 days a week with Dominic, and I was in the gym 5 days a week in the afternoon, just body sparring, just going through the motions, you know, because I thought I anticipated I was fighting in September, October time, so it wasn't. So then when the fight came, I had a week with Dominic, you know, training, and then I had 1 week with Junior and Amir Khan, and I just sparred, you know. So for this fight, Dominic's still away with Kel at present, so this week I've trained again with Junior and Amir. So you know, that's what's happening at present. You know, Dom will be back Monday. Kel's fighting the week after mine. Obviously, Golovkin's a bit bigger than Noreen Maduna. So, you know, Junior and Amir are definitely a big part of the team. You know, and Dom will be back Monday, and we'll see what happens from there. You know, the gym's got a great buzz about it anyway. You know, you work hard. Brendan's always there. You know, there's no one better than Junior anyway. You know, I've really enjoyed working with him. So, you know, there's no excuses there. There's no complaints about the training before the Whyte fight. So yeah.
Good to hear. Good to hear. So loosely, the plan is what sort of area title end of the year? Maybe looking at English or British at some point in 2017. Is that the sort of broad breakdown, Dave?
Yeah, at the end of the year, it's about getting 8 10 round fights, and you know, and these challenge belts knocking about. You know, maybe pick one of them up. It's not about the belt; it's just about the rounds and stuff. And all these next 3 fights now are all about just banking rounds. And I can't be banking rounds against Eastern European journeymen because A lot of them don't stand up to rounds, and B, I'm not learning anything on it. So just going to get good opponents opponents that I can practice and learn off. And opponents like, you know, Dillian didn't let me get my punches off now. It's a case of I've got to stop being the sparring partner. I've got to start putting my punches together and start winning things now, and start winning rounds and stuff, and not relying on winning by stoppage, and relying on physical strength and taking a good shot.
Of course, yeah. Have you has there been any conversation between yourself and Steffi Bull with Matchroom or with Sky following on from this? Do you know if there's a scope for maybe one of those title fights? It may not be if it's on Steffi's show, but do you know if there's scope for you to do more with them in the future, Dave?
Yeah, I think, you know, next year, you know, any show in Leeds definitely touched me. You know, the reception was unbelievable. After the fight, you know, Sheffield. I was selling Sheffield and I was selling Leeds now by the looks of things, and in Doncaster as well. So, and with the press conference and the weigh-in and whatever else going well, you know, there's a bit of a buzz around the fight. You know, I've seem to have a pretty decent profile now. So, hopefully work with me again. It's Steffi, I said I don't want to fight on Sky again. I said I don't want to fight on Sky, and I don't want to fight in big fights until I'm ready. Until I'm ready to win these fights. You know, I don't want to go on Sky and be the brave, gallant loser every time. So.
I understand, yeah. I can see what you're saying there, Dave. I guess, is there a risk that after your performance against Dillian, where you showed such toughness, and, you know, is there a risk that promoters, managers are going to look at you as the kind of guy to give their prospects rounds, and could you now start seeing some potential big money offers to come for you almost as an opponent? Do you think that's likely?
I don't think there'll be many. Well, to be honest, I don't think there'll be a lot of British fighters that are going to want to fight me anyway. I think quite the opposite. I think I'll be avoided. You know, I've got the loss on my record now, and you know, and I think they can see with a little bit more experience. Me and Dillian could have been a really close fight, a really hard fight for him. And Dillian's possibly like a world class fighter, like people are saying. So, you know, I wouldn't do that anyway. I can sell tickets now, thanks to Steffi. You know, really getting me out there and stuff. I sell tickets. You know, I've got big ambitions. So, I'm far from being this journeyman gatekeeper kind of character. You know, I've still got ambition in the game. So. With absolutely no chance of that whatsoever, you know. And from here on, it's quite the opposite. It's the David Allen show now. It's all about me. I'm going to be having the sparring for me. I'm not going to be the sparring partner from now on. So, you know, I'm going to be moving on to another level. You know, next time I fight on Sky, it'll be in a big fight, and I'll be winning it, and that's a definite.
and it's, to be honest, it sounds like the combination of, you know, the activity and the step down in opposition and the plan you've got. I mean, it sounds absolutely spot on for a big fight in 2017. And, you know, I do have one final question. I noticed David Haye tweeting you the other day on Twitter with his, you know, he giving you some kind words after your performance against Dillian Whyte. A question that I had for you, and this was actually from my friend Rob that came on Facebook. He said, is David Haye tweeting you because he wants to make David Haye versus David Allen on Dave, and he wants to see if he can go one better than Dillian Whyte and stop you? Or do you think he's or do you think that was heartfelt from David Haye? Because he's one of these characters, it's kind of hard to work out what he's actually thinking.
Well, either way, you know, if it wasn't just a nice comment, you know, I told him very much. I appreciate it. I'm you know, for all his faults, I'm a David Haye fan. If David Haye would want the fight, you know, that's a fight you'd take in a heartbeat. It's David Haye, isn't it? So I would 100% take the fight, 1,000,000%, if that was offered. And you know, I'd go into a massive underdog, quite obviously, you know, for all the right reasons. But you know, if he does try and stop me early on, he'd definitely come unstuck, because that's one thing I will not be. I will not be stopped. You know, I've got a very good chin. I'm very tough, and I'm very defensively sound. You know, so a David Haye fight, am I ready for that? Absolutely not. Do I earn it? Absolutely not. But would I take it? Yes. So
so you'd kind of abandon the plan of you know, the sort of challenge belt, area belt. You'd sort of depart from that, but only if a fight of that magnitude came up, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't turn that fight down. Like the Dillian Whyte fight, I couldn't turn that down. Now David Haye, Dillian Whyte fight, times by 10, times by even more than that, times by 100. You know, so
yeah.
The fights in boxing. Well, of course you'd take that. Yeah. So I think the chance is very, very small, but you know, nonetheless, if he does listen to boxing gossip, you know, I'm open to that.
I hope. I doubt he does somehow, Dave. But you never know. You never know. But I'm presuming that the I mean, obviously David Haye, Sam Sexton. We're talking Premier League versus Conference, aren't we? But I'm presuming you're not going to abandon your plans for the likes of the Sam Sexton fight or something like that if that becomes available.
No, we've pulled out the purse bids for the English title now.
Okay.
We've pulled out of them bids. And like I say, you know, the plan, you know, David Haye fight aside, the plan is the 3 fights for the end of the year. If Sam Sexton is about next year, you know, maybe me and Sam Sexton can fight for the vacant British. You know, Dillian should have moved on. And hopefully these next 3 fights, good opposition. I've done a 10 rounder now. Hopefully I could be in line for a British title fight. If I've got to go for the English, I've got to go for the English, you know. But I'm very confident in 12 months I will be the British heavyweight champion.
Dave, it's great to speak to you again, mate. I know you got a suit off, but really, really appreciate it. All congrats on your performance against Dillian Whyte. It's one of them where you've taken more. You know, it's like when Dillian fought Joshua. You know, you take a lot from the defeat, and it's great to speak to you as always, mate.
Thanks a lot, mate. Thank you.
Have a good evening, mate. I'll catch you soon.
You too. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye now. Bye.